3 months from the horrendous crash that killed a man, a relatively light plea deal, and fast for the truck driver.
How many more people have to die on the Colorado roads, on any road, before they start doing their job?
State legislators getting ticked about being told what to do. Lookout Mountain is closing after dark because people keep going up there for sexy business. 3 wildfires in Colorado this summer blamed on flaming birds. When did this become a thing, and why do only certain birds get crisped?
Sometimes they burst into flames, sometimes they just fall dead.
Sometimes you watch the news. Sometimes you watch next. Colorado's seen a string of terrible crashes involving big trucks, and some have resulted in huge prison sentences designed to send a message. So what then is the message sent by a max 1-year sentence for a truck driver who admitted causing a crash that killed a man? His widow asked that of Mark Salinger.
This summer has been impossibly difficult after what happened here on June 11th.
I lost the person that I'd been with since I was 17.
Deanne Miller lost her husband Scott when a truck slammed into his car on Highway 285 near Bailey.
My husband may have died physically, and he may not be on this earth anymore, but I died with him.
The driver of the semi-truck was Ignacio Cruz Mendoza. He didn't have a valid commercial driver's license, and he was in the country illegally. Deanne knows he should never have been on the road driving next to her husband.
I mean, he should not have been behind the wheel of that truck, and he knew that too.
Yet Cruz Mendoza was only charged with misdemeanor traffic violations. 1 count of careless driving resulting in death, and 3 counts of careless driving resulting in injury. He pleaded guilty to those in July and will be sentenced on Friday. He faces 1 year in jail and some fines.
Who else is going to get these rogue truck drivers and these road trucking companies off the roads, if not the people we put in charge to make us safe?
After the DA's office in Jefferson County charged the driver with a misdemeanor, he surprised them and pleaded guilty in his arraignment. That prevented prosecutors from filing more charges as they got more evidence from crash investigators.
At the time they filed the charges, all they had was probable cause on a misdemeanor charge of careless driving resulting in death.
9 News legal analyst Scott Robinson says after the guilty plea, double jeopardy prevents any more charges from being added.
There's no question but that the decision to file just the misdemeanor charges is coming back to haunt the prosecutors, at least to a certain degree.
Hold these people accountable for their actions.
After losing her husband less than 3 months ago, Deanne will walk into a courtroom on Friday to tell a judge why the man who crashed into her husband deserves the maximum sentence. A sentence she feels is far too short.
Mad because the most this man could get is a year for murdering my husband because the DA refused to charge him with more charges.
So how short is a 1-year sentence? Earlier this year, a truck driver in Weld County was sentenced to 16 years for a deadly crash on I-25. A couple years back, the same district attorney's office in Jefferson County, who prosecuted the truck driver who killed 4 people on I-70, that driver got a 110-year sentence before the governor stepped in to reduce it. Deanne still trying to wrap her mind around why more charges weren't filed before this driver had the opportunity to plead guilty.
Mark, as you've shown us, there's often kind of the dual prosecution. You got the trucker on one side, you got the trucking company on the other.
Yeah, and we can report tonight that the DA's office is still looking into that trucking company that this driver was driving for. Monique Trucking has a history of violations, including allowing drivers to be on the road without proper commercial driver's licenses. The DA's office is looking into them, and that investigation is ongoing.
Thank you for your continued work on this. State legislators are getting increasingly pokey about being told what to do by the governor and party leadership. They have, of course, been called back to the Capitol for a special session to pass a compromise deal on property taxes, a deal that was worked out without most of those state legislators in the room. Here's Democratic State Rep Jennifer Bacon from Denver being pretty pointed about it.
I want to thank everybody on this floor. It is our job to make law. It is our job to be the people's branch. Every single one of us are thousands of people. This floor needs to be respected. We only work for the people. We may work with others, but we only work for the people. I don't work for somebody who's not on this floor.
So today, the State House passed a relatively minor reduction in the statewide tax assessment rate. It'll mean about $255 million in tax cuts on top of a $1 billion tax cut passed earlier this year. If the legislature agrees to this compromise, conservative groups have agreed to take two much larger tax cut measures off the November ballot. Democrats and Republicans have said that they are uncomfortable being held hostage to pass rushed legislation that's being dictated by others. One of the few party leaders who was in the room for these negotiations, Democratic Senator Chris Hansen of Denver, was asked about that.
I strongly reject this notion that this was some sort of backroom deal. This process has played out like hundreds of bills I've been a part of over the last 8 years.
I want you to hear that again. All right, Senator Hansen says that it was not a backroom deal, but the only evidence he provides is that it happens all the time. Frequency, of course, is in no way the definition of what is or is not a backroom deal. Listen again.
I strongly reject this notion that this was some sort of backroom deal. This process has played out like hundreds of bills I've been a part of over the last 8 years.
It's not a backroom deal. They do stuff in secret all the time. There's your takeaway. This is quite similar to last year's Prop HH tax measure, which was rushed onto the ballot by Democrats at the last minute. Voters then proceeded to smoke it like brisket. It lost by nearly 20 points. So one of my fantasy football team names this year is going to be Flaming Bird Carcasses. Now, a couple months ago, I had no idea that flaming bird carcasses were a thing, that apparently birds just burst into flames if they touch electrical lines in the wrong way, and that those burning bird bits start wildfires. 3 in Colorado this summer. Marshall Zellinger explains why so many birds can chill comfortably on power lines and a select few, unfortunately, get crispy.
A bird simply standing on a wire is not going to start a fire. It needs a matchbook and matches. I kid. How is it that 3 times in the last month and a half, birds on electrical equipment have started wildfires along the Front Range?
Most often when a bird is electrocuted, it doesn't catch fire and then we don't hear about it.
Surprisingly, there is a bit of an expert in this field, Taylor Barnes, a biologist who studies wildlife.
Primarily what we focus on is avian safety as it relates to power poles.
On Tuesday in Roxborough Park, a wildfire started at the base of a power pole. 4 birds were found electrocuted on the ground. At the end of July, a fire near the Fort restaurant that was quickly put out was also caused by a bird on fire.
Sometimes they burst into flames, sometimes they just fall dead.
In mid-July, in eastern Arapahoe County, the Quail Hollow fire that destroyed someone's home started when a bird was electrocuted on this piece of electrical equipment. Barnes isn't the investigator, but could see a likely scenario.
Sometimes what can happen is insects can get inside that cap. Well, that attracts birds. Birds like to eat insects, in particular woodpeckers and crows. So something like that could have sat on that jumper wire and pecked into that arrestor cap, trying to get at the insects, making contact with the energized components, and then causing it to catch fire.
The Quail Hollow fire and the one in Roxborough Park were on core electric power lines. A spokeswoman tells us the co-op tries to protect against bird electrocution.
We've got these kind of protections and coatings to keep them from pecking through that, but there's also, elements of it that can't always be 100% covered.
But if you're looking for one takeaway of this story, it's probably this.
Not every bird that is electrocuted will fall to the ground and start a fire.
I love my job. How are birds becoming electrified? It's kind of like charging a battery. They have to touch 2 different wire phases at the same time, which is why they can be on that one wire with no problem, or they can be fried touching a wire and a path to the ground, which is when they're pecking at that hole. Maybe they're hitting something they shouldn't, or they hit metal, and then that's that.
I also just need to know, how did we go decades into our lives without ever knowing that this is a thing, and now this summer it's just like Firebird, Firebird, Firebird?
Taylor has done studies on this. He studied from 2014 to 2018 and found 44 incidents across the country, including 2 in Colorado. So we must have missed the news releases between 2014 and 2018 of those 2 that said flaming bird carcass started fire at X agency.
But now we're watching it, forgive me, like a hawk. Marshall, thank you. So there's a simple bit of dignity that is part of every day for most of us. The chance to take a shower in a safe and private place. For Coloradans who happen to be living in their cars or elsewhere on the streets, it is not simple, and it is not every day. And that is why Showers for All is this week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign. 3 years ago, your generosity helped pay for an entirely new shower and laundry truck for that nonprofit so they could expand their work. And they have now provided 20,000 showers and loads of laundry for neighbors in need in Denver and surrounding cities. Now, a challenge that they have these days is finding sites that have the proper power hookups for what they need. So together we can raise funds to move Showers for All to a fully renewable energy setup, which is also going to allow them to set up anywhere that they're welcome. These days, that's in Denver and Arvada. They're there 4 days a week. They tell the story of a young man who had been accepted into a drug rehab job training program, this 2-year program out of state. When he emerged from the shower trailer, clean, beaming, showing off a new haircut he'd given himself, his friends from the street cheered. A shower, clean clothes, that can be the difference in getting a job, keeping a job, staying healthy, or even just staying positive. That tomorrow can be better than today. That's what Dignity does. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get the link to donate to Showers for All. Your millions of dollars in microgiving proves that even $5 helps, so you know, as always, I'm going to match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us rolling. And more than 3,000 of you have signed up to simplify your giving with a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. And what that means is that your recent microgiving campaigns come out of the gate with $22,000 in giving each week. You use that same QR code or text to get there.
It's my happy place because I can see hope.
Well, go up to Lookout Mountain after dark and you're not going to see hope. You're going to see drugs and garbage dumping and cover the kids' ears, people getting frisky. So the county is considering a curfew. And Colorado's wolf reintroduction pivots to a new reintroduction plan. That's next. United Airlines flight attendants have voted for a potential strike they are describing as their chaos strategy, which I would say Denver's airport is quite capable of creating on its own. The trains at the airport went down again today. Of course, it wouldn't be a big deal in an airport that has, say, another way to get from area to area, but DIA just has the trains, so there you go. Hey, back to the United Union chaos thing. It's their first strike authorization since 2005. Union wants a double-digit base pay increase, more schedule flexibility, and the chaos deal is that the union says if they strike, they won't give management or passengers a heads up on when or where. Just boom, chaos. They call it creating havoc around our system. Chaos, spells it out. With United being nearly 50% of the traffic at DIA, it would be chaos indeed, even if the trains are running on time. Less than a year after Colorado Parks and Wildlife loosed gray wolves near Grand County, state's going to try to recapture a couple so they can re-release them somewhere else. CPW wants to take 2 wolves and their pups out of the so-called Copper Creek Pack. Ranchers in the area want them removed after wolves killed 16 cows and sheep in Grand County this year. CPW is not talking publicly about how they're going to catch the wolves or where they will be moved. At least they won't talk about it until after it's done. This is a surprising decision because CPW's wolf management plan strongly warns against moving wolves, says it quote-unquote translocates the problem. Because, right, the wolf is still going to be hungry with a taste for livestock somewhere else. Scientists who study wolves also say doing this is a last resort.
If you don't go far enough, the wolves tend to move back to their original home range. I would say the scientific consensus worldwide is that translocating large carnivores that you're concerned about is not an effective or optimal way of dealing with conflicts with livestock.
CPW is supposed to release more wolves by the end of the year. That was the deal, but it's not clear where they're going to get them. Can't just pick them up at Costco. A tribe in Washington backed out of a deal to provide wolves, said that the tribes in Colorado were not properly consulted. Meteorologist Kathy Sabin's along after a hot day.
Oh, 92 degrees today, and it's hard not to be Team Cow as, well, the wolves didn't ask to be moved to Colorado. So it'll be interesting to watch the wolf rodeo coming up, and great weather for whatever they might be doing up in the high country trying to find the wolves because we have a dry, mild weather pattern. It's going to last right into the upcoming weekend. Average high is 86. We hit 92 today. This marks today as the warmest day of the week, not quite at the record of 96. Temperatures still in the 90s until the sun sets tonight. And And we're watching the wind increasing out of the east and southeast. When the wind comes in out of the northwest overnight, that will signal the arrival of a cool front that will take temperatures down 10 degrees over the highs that we're reporting today. We're in between weather systems, one low pressure to the south, another to the north. Really a pretty nice weather pattern for Colorado with a couple of showers over the southern tier, little bit of wind, little bit of lightning. Yeah, we do need the moisture. We absolutely do. But with this front coming in, maybe a couple of showers on the far eastern plains, but I think Denver will miss out. Temperatures in the upper 80s now, dropping 10 degrees after sunset. And we've got, well, a cool down tomorrow and then a warm up on Friday and a beautiful holiday weekend coming up. I've got sunshine and 89 on Labor Day.
This road is my happy place in the day.
And the happy place for the people going up there for the Bow Chicka Wow Wow after dark, which is the reason why Lookout Mountain may soon be closed at night. Lookout Mountain is a beautiful place for all kinds of activities, some of them legal. Jefferson County Open Space is making changes to keep that area safer and cleaner.
It's a good climb, doesn't take too long. So we are on Lookout Mountain.
This is a very special place. It's this really wonderful intersection of people using a roadway to recreate and get their exercise and people to experience nature.
Enjoy the climb, you can stop here, see the mountain.
We're on track for our Lookout Mountain Nighttime Vehicle Access Management project, which is going to be putting in a couple of gates. One down on the east side or the bottom of Lookout Mountain Road and one at the top on the west side as it travels through parklands, Denver Mountain Parks and Jefferson County Open Space Parks. And nearly half of the call-outs are during hours where people aren't supposed to be up here doing anything other than just traveling through. They're shooting fireworks, they're discharging firearms, they're drinking, doing drugs. We know this from the debris that's left behind. They're littering. It's the behavior outside of our park regulations that we've just not been able to manage either through signage, through communication, through patrol. Right now we are in construction at the bottom. We're working on culvert improvements so we can put in the turnaround. There will be a pedestrian bypass, so when the gates are closed for the night, we will allow folks to have access to the road only.
And I actually do ride sometime late on the evening here, so actually for cyclists that would be pretty nice actually.
Somebody asked me, what am I going to do when the gates close? And I said I will probably quietly cry to myself and do a big trash cleanup all the way up in the dark. In fact, it's my happy place because I can see hope.
They ruined it for all the rest of us, Marilyn. They ruined it. Now Lookout's gone at night for all of us. Thank you for the feedback. That's next. The nonprofit Showers for All has a pretty simple model. They offer showers and laundry for all who need them. Often it's Coloradans who are living in their cars in the Denver metro area. Sometimes it's people trying to hold down a job, and you can imagine how hard that would be without a place to get cleaned up well. Showers for All's trailers are at predictable places so that they can be counted on. These days they're in Denver and in Arvada. And they're looking to transfer them over to renewable power so there can be more places they can park them to meet the need in our community. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to join me and a bunch of other Coloradans in supporting the work of the nonprofit Showers for All. A lot of feedback tonight about the burning birds that are causing wildfires around the state. Note tonight from Rob, the fire chief up in Lyons, who says, happens to squirrels too. My first wildland fire was a crispy squirrel. Jennifer didn't care for the way that I talked about it. She said, big fan, but I'm wondering if joking about crispy bird carcasses is a kind way to refer to the suffering of the sentient beings we share our planet with. Jennifer, one thing the experts tell us, and I don't doubt, it is that it is an instantaneous way for these birds to go. So if I had to choose that path, or say how they end up at KFC, going to the wire.